Blake, the Cornflower Handicap opens the card on Sunday. It's a Class 1, only a small field, and you ride Will Power, a horse that you know quite well, and well, this is very much his game, isn't it? All-weather racing.
Yeah, definitely, Nick. It is. He's, well, in my opinion, he's the best Hong Kong dirt horse around. He's basically faultless on the dirt, and it's great to see him win 2 runs back on the dirt over 1650, and it just ticks that box over 1650, and we're back here again on Sunday. It's a similar lineup, and I think it presents well for him to win another race.
Yeah, I think you're certainly not far wrong. Off his mark of 109, he's got to be right up there with arguably the best horse on the all-weather. Just on his run last time, Blake. Now Douglas obviously tried him on the turf. He has had a handful of runs on the turf, 5 in fact. Is he just? What is it with him that makes him a better all-weather horse than turf?
Look, good question. I'm not really sure. He has ran well on the turf before. And Douglas and myself are the opinion that he is quite competitive on the turf. He just hasn't got the right circumstances. And like last start, we felt the horse was going very well, but the pace was just against us. And it was like a really sit sprint affair. Horses in the back in the field were disadvantaged. And like Willpower likes to settle. He needs to settle to finish the races off. And like last start with the pace, he actually pulled quite hard, and he was vulnerable the last 200 metres, like we were out of gas. So, I'm not completely wiping off that he can't win a race on the turf. He just needs everything to fall his way.
Just on that running style, as you mentioned, obviously he likes to be held up. Would it be fair to say you love riding horses that way, don't you? I mean, you're not a one-trick jockey by any stretch of the imagination, Blake, but you seem to be so good at holding them up and producing them. And I imagine when you get on this horse, you must enjoy riding in that way. Would that be true?
Yes, for sure. I like, I like to think I can ride, horses most ways, leading and getting back in the field, but allowing a horse to, find their rhythm and let them get confident underneath, myself as their rider. And, you build confidence through the race, and you assess the race as it's going. And, Willpower winning on the dirt was a prime example. Caught his step 6 last week. But, I enjoy riding horses that way. And, it's worked for me, for a number of years now, and hopefully it can keep going forward that way.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Just on his trial, Blake, he ran 4th in an all-weather trial recently. The conditions were sort of nothing short of atrocious. You kept him wide. That was just going through the motions with him.
Yeah, for sure. It was absolutely terrible at the track, and we just stayed really wide, kept him away from all the kickback, and just kept him really, really happy. And it was just a maintenance trial for the horse, and he felt good. He was happy, and he ran through the line nicely. So as we alluded to earlier, he's a good dirt horse. He's won at the 1650. We know what we're going to get from Willpower, and I expect him to run another great race on the weekend.
Just on Sha Tin, Blake, you've had winners at the last 3 meetings. Hopefully you can make it 4 this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Look, things are going really well. I like to think on the weekend I've got a handy book of rides. Willpower may be my standout, but I think I've got a competitive bunch of horses that, if the cards fall my way, well, we might walk away with one or 2 winners. But I'm pretty happy with what I'm heading to the races with on the weekend.
Lyle, CHEVAL Valiant is a horse that you know quite well. Has run 2 good races recently, and looks a leading chance this Sunday at Sha Tin.
Yeah, he's a consistent horse. He makes it tough for himself because he's pretty much a one-dimensional. He's got a lot of speed and sort of hangs on to the last few strides, and unfortunately he's been collared his last few starts, but nonetheless he's in good form. He's been running well, and yeah, I think that once again he'll put up a good performance, albeit what looks to be a competitive race.
It certainly is. Obviously, quite a few newcomers. Just on his last couple of starts, Lyle, when you've ridden him, he's been drawn 2 and 7, and I guess traditionally down the straight, that's the wrong side to be. You're in 10 now. Does that help you out? Do you think more closer to this stand side rail?
Yeah, I think, obviously, according to trends, it definitely will be beneficial that he's out there, but he's been able to overcome those draws a bit easier because he's naturally quick. But nonetheless, that just makes things more in our favor being drawn there, and I think we'll have to just take full advantage of it.
The handicap has put him up a point. He's got an extra pound to carry. You don't see that being any sort of issue at all?
Yeah, I think a pound at this stage is not too much to worry about. But yeah, I mean, we'd like to see him win before he puts up any more weight.
I mean, just from what you're saying, Lyle, obviously, I mean, he's still lightly raced, only had 7 rounds. I mean, is he a horse that has his limitations? Do you think now's the time to try and strike with him, if you can?
Yeah, look, I think that he's going to be competitive throughout that class 4. But yes, he does have his limitations because he's not a big horse. He's robust, he's strong, but he's a small speed machine and not much scope that he's going to step up over 12 and improve from there. He's an out-and-out 5 furlong horse. I know he hasn't performed at Happy Valley in his 2 starts there, but there is always that option to go back now that he's in good form. But nonetheless, I think that, like you say, the strike while the iron's hot would be ideal.
And Lyle, I can't speak to you obviously for the weekend ahead without looking back on Happy Valley Wednesday night. Great to see you back in the winners' enclosure. Plenty of support for you and accolades being thrown your way, which is well deserved. Just to be probably as frank as you can possibly be in this interview, how much did that mean to you? Because you really have had a torrid season, and I guess getting that win certainly was a big boost.
Yeah, look, it's been torrid in the fact that we got that win on the board early, and then straight away up onto the sidelines the very next meeting, and then coming back took 1 or 2 meetings to find a rhythm again and get some better opportunity. And it's been more frustrating than terrible because we've been getting good results consistently on horses at big odds. It becomes frustrating because when you're running that close, you sometimes just look past the fact that you've got the horse to run well and just think to yourself, like, come on, we've got to get this winner. So yeah, it was great to get the monkey off the back. Obviously it's always a great feeling to win Hong Kong, but it was a bit of relief too. And now it's just about continuing with that consistency and get all those other places to turn into winners too.
And I guess this weekend with CHEVAL Valiant could be a case of South Africans united once again. Douglas White, obviously this horse's trainer as well.
Yeah, as I said, after winning Valiant Elegance, Doug's been great to me, and nice to be having real good results, but to have the success is even better, and hopefully that just continues from here on out.
Joe, Beauty Live looks a very progressive horse indeed, and I imagine you're very much looking forward to getting back on board.
No doubt, Nick. He has given me a good feel on both times that I was on board. Unfortunately, I wasn't him last time that he won, but just by watching the race, it would be eye-catching to anyone else. I guess I can talk about myself. I mean, I was very impressed with his last win.
What about his gallop, Joe? You've sat on him since that last win, and obviously you are going to ride this Sunday. Did he feel to you like he's taken another step forward?
Every time I've been sitting on him, he has given me a feeling that he's improving. Initially, when I rode him for the first time at the races, he indicated that he was extremely green. He wasn't really aware of what his job is, but after his first run, he's progressed big time on his track work, and he reproduced that at the races, winning by a big margin, winning impressively, and giving me a really good feel.
He's got a bit more weight to carry this time, Joe. I mean, he looks like the type of horse that can carry that forward. Also, the barrier from that angle, he's drawn a lot better this time around, so that's got to be a big plus, is it?
There is plenty of good points about this coming race, because I know he has won his last start up in class, and he he had a bit of interruption, had a wide gate, didn't really jump well, but apparently this time he's going to have more things on his favor. And it is a very winnable race, in my point of view. The form of the horse around him are not bad, but they are not outstanding. So that puts him as the hot favorite. And I guess that's the reason why you're talking to me today.
Absolutely. Well, we love talking to you, Joe, of course, on the show and race day. Just with this horse, I mean, he does have a nomination for the BMW Hong Kong Derby. Has he just arrived a little bit too late to the party, do you think, this horse?
It's certainly coming too soon to him, but he deserves being given a chance. I know he's being entered to the Derby, and if he wins, he's going to be buying his ticket to run in the Derby. He needs to win this race, and he needs to win by a big margin. So then I can tell you he's going to go into the Derby with a good winning chance. At this stage, it's hard to predict, but I can tell you he's a progressive type of a horse, which gets everyone else involved very excited.
Caspar, Galaxy Witness has taken all before him so far in 2 starts. I imagine you and the team and everybody involved are looking forward to gracing the racecourse with him for a 3rd time.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. It looks to be quite an exciting prospect for the stable, and since he's only 3 years old, we're going to have some fun with him going forward.
Just on what he's done so far, Caspar, before we touch upon his preparation for this start, I know he's been up to Chung Fa. 2 runs, 1,000 meters, 1,200. He just seems to keep taking that next step, doesn't he, this horse?
Yeah, it's the last part of his race is his best, which is good. And even the other day when he's finished off the last 100 very strongly, he just looks like he's crying out for an extra furlong already, So we're going to give him that opportunity, up in class, down in weight, and see how we go.
I guess obviously you would have loved to have seen Oriental Smoke win last time he ran, because that would have certainly franked the form, but he went extremely close to doing so. Just on the trip front, Caspar, has he always shown you plenty to suggest that he's a horse that will continue to get over ground?
Yeah, absolutely. From day one, he's a big, strong horse, but he's a very laid back customer. He does everything his own way, and he's just beautiful horse to train. And he gives you the feeling that he's going to even eat up a mile later on in his prep.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him over the mile and perhaps beyond. Just on recent preparation, I know he's been up to Chung Fa, something that you like to do quite a bit. That trial recently looked very good.
Yeah, he's in good form, mate. He trialed on the 24th. He just came back to Hong Kong on Wednesday. He looks a treat. Had a little bit of work yesterday morning on the grass, and Joe got off him and says he feels good and he's ready to go to the races. Obviously you're stepping up an extra furlong, and you're up in class, which you always respect in Hong Kong because you're meeting just a little bit of that better quality of horse. But he's the type of horse that's going to keep progressing for us. I do respect Danny Shum's horse, though. He looks quite nice in the race.
Absolutely, there are some nice horses in their Charity Grace, the horse you allude to. Away from this horse, Caspar, obviously Happy Valley, you introduced a nice newcomer in Coney County. Well done there, and that takes you one closer to the 1,000. But that was a nice win from him, who still looks like he's got more to give.
Yeah, definitely. Another horse that he's a 3-year-old, and he's going to keep progressing, and looks that he will run further as well. So it's always nice when they can win first up. And, it was only his 2nd run of his whole life, which is pretty impressive, And when you come to Hong Kong, and if you can do that, you're certainly going to be looking forward to something that's going to take you through the ratings in the next few months, God willing.